Page 36, Soaring. Well, let's go through my routine of learning a new piece of music and see what happens. Look it over. It's 2 pages long. There's no repeat signs or anything. We just straight through it. I see it's in 2 sections. If you look at the end of the first line on page 37, there's a double bars. Remember, that's the symbol for the sections. So we're leaving one section, going into another. So it looks like it's in at least 2 sections. We have treble and bass clef, 4/4 time signature. We've had all that before. And we have eighth notes all over everywhere in the left hand. That's really what this is about. You're very busy in the left hand, while the right hand just takes the melody. That is a challenge I'll talk about a little bit later. Let's just cover the notes and rhythms, make sure we have those okay. In the right hand, it comes in the second line. Your third finger's here, so you're in this position. So it's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, and I assume you can read these notes okay. Let's go to page 37 in the second line. This is the second section. Now we have a B and a D together. Just lower them both together. Lower the hand. 1, 2, 3. I want to talk about that just a bit. Going for the quarter notes. Here to here. I want to connect it. I want these down at the same time. I don't, but maybe you can. And all I'm doing is I'm rotating the weight. I'm going from the thumb to the other fingers. I'm just moving the weight from one. You can move weight from any finger to any finger or any combinations of fingers. I mean, it's amazing how it works. You just shift the weight from here to here. And the third line, it's a C and a D, but it has an ABA over it. So at the end of the second line during the rest, we have to come up here, here. So again, it's the same thing. I'm just shifting weight. And at the end of the third line during the rest, we come down, the ABA went away. And the last line, the ABA comes back. Oh, I don't know what it wants to do. We're back up here. Okay. The left hand's just got these eighth notes. 1. And again, I'm just shifting weight from note to note. It's really very little motion. You can hardly see it really, but I'm exaggerating it so you can see it better, but it's really a very little motion. It doesn't take much motion to shift weight. I'm just changing which finger the weight is on. Third line down, change the notes. Okay, that's pretty much all the left hand does. So when you put them together, start with second line on page 36. When they both play, it's here, here, here. So you go through and put the hands together, then go back through and get rid of any hesitations anywhere, so it's a steady beat. You keep it slow, with a steady beat. Then I think about the articulation. This is very smooth, very connected. You can lift up between the phrases in the right hand. It looks like it's the end of each line, more or less, every 2 measures. Just lift up. I don't care for that. In my mind, we can pretty much connect all this together. Now, when I get to the end of the first line on page 37, the whole note, there I might lift up going into the new section. That's obviously a new phrase. Here, you can lift up there. And then on page 37, you get a rest in the right hand. You have to lift up. In the left hand, you just connect it all the way through. Very smooth, very connected. Then I think about the dynamics. Well, that applies to the melody, which is in the right hand. Now they tell you in the first line, P is soft for the left hand, whatever you think soft is. And that legato, well, that's articulation. That means connected. I've already told you connected all the way through. Well, it's also in the music to connect it. You see, if they don't tell you anything on connected or don't connect it or nothing, you can do what you want pretty much. You experiment and you see, oh, I like this better, you do that. But when they tell you legato, that takes your choices away. Now you connect it softly. But in the second line, when the right hand, that then comes soft, and the left hand has to get very soft. That's the challenge. You're very busy in the left hand. Lots of eighth notes going. You're just going crazy here. And the tendency is when you get busy in a hand, you'll just automatically play it louder. You'll just do it. It just happens. Well, that's a problem here because the melody's in the other hand. So you be aware of it, always be aware of it, and listen carefully, and make sure that left hand stays very soft pretty much throughout. I said pretty much, because when you get over to page 37, second line, you get a mezzo forte, MF for the... You can come up a little bit in the left hand, but it's still got to be on the soft side. Third line is soft, like you were, very soft. And then the next line is moderately loud again. The last line is soft again. And you get a ritornando. They spell it out. They don't need to spell it out. Most music would not do that. You just get the word. It's up to you to realize you apply it for the rest of it. So you're just going to slow down. And you just slow down. How much slow down? Again, that's interpretation. It depends on, you feel it. What do you think? Now the speed. Allegro moderato again. Moderately fast. It's the overall feel. Now you think, well, that's really more of a moderato. It's not too fast. The problem is the eighth notes in the left hand. They're going to slow you down a little bit. So you have to find a speed that works for you, but don't drag it. I think about it. Now, if you can't go that fast, how fast can you go? And that's going to be your Allegro moderato for now. Because you can come back and play these pieces in this book over and over and over, and I hope you do, just for fun. Just as time goes on, and you'll gradually play them better, and you'll gradually speed up the fast pieces. And it's just the way it works. It's really fun. Now on top of that, they've added pedal. Pedal changes the sound. So we use pedal for different reasons. And it is important to understand the reason why you're using the pedal. If you don't understand the reason you're using the pedal, please just don't use it. No. It just gets in the way. Or it becomes a crutch. You can rely on the pedal to cover up your sloppiness. A lot of people do, believe it or not. And it's better, learn the piece always without pedal to make the fingers do what they're supposed to do. And then when you add pedal, you can hear the difference in the sound. Here, it's more for the overall flow, connection, the overtones. Because the first line here, if I play it without pedal, it's very clean and dry. I add pedal, it just connects everything together, it smears it. It's a different effect, and that's the effect this piece wants through most of it, not all of it. Because if you look over at the top page 37, the first measure, that's not pedaled. Here, I don't know why it's not pedaled, but it isn't. In my mind, I see no reason not to pedal it, but they didn't. And then the second line, you start pedaling again. But the third line, when it's soft here, they don't pedal that. And the next line they do, and the last line, they don't pedal the first measure again. I really disagree with that. I'm slowing down and I'm calming down, coming down. I'm not going to add overtones at the end like that. If I'm not going to pedal the first measure, the last line, I'm not going to pedal the second. I mean, in my mind, it just doesn't make any sense to play that clean and then pedal. To me, it's backwards. If anything, I'd pedal the first measure, not the second. See, it just cleans it out and lets it die away. It makes more sense to me. But in my opinion, we just pedal the whole thing. Now, I would like to hear the rest at the end of the lines on page 37. So the second line, second measure, you're here. I lift up. The pedal will cover it up if you keep it down. So I would have to lift the pedal with the hand, the right hand. But then I lose this. That suddenly becomes clean all of a sudden, and I don't really want that. So if I'm going to lift up for the right hand, it's a change pedal. So at the beginning, I'm going to push the pedal down right after I play the note. I start the sound before I release the dampers. And I'm going to hold it down for 2 full lines like that. And then I'm going to lift it up with the right hand at the end of the second line here. Here. Keep the left hand down. I'm connecting the left hand. And they say don't pedal the third line on page 36. I really disagree with that. I don't like, that's too much contrast. We're soaring up in the clouds here, and I don't see the point in having it all clean like this. To me, I want it overtones all the time. So what I would do is pedal that third line also. They probably haven't taught you the pedal technique yet. Well, if you're going to use pedal, you got to use it right or don't use it. So I'm going to teach you the technique. It's called change pedal. It's where you change the pedal, which means you let the pedal up and put it right back down. You're killing all the overtones just for a moment, and then you put the pedal down to start them up again. You're changing the sound, sort of. So at the end of the second line here, I lift the pedal up with the right hand, and I'm going to push it down again at the beginning of the third line after I play the notes. Here. So the second measure, the second line. Same thing at the end of the third line. We'll lift the pedal up with the hand and put it down right after I play the notes in the next line. At the end of that line, I'm going to lift the pedal up with the right hand and push it down right after I play the notes at the top of page 37. And then for the next measure, I'm going to change pedal here. Right after I play the notes, I lift the pedal up and put it right back down. There's a little bit of overlap in the sound, but the ear doesn't mind. It's just a speck. So I always have sound. So the first line on page 37, I'm going to pedal that, change it here, and then I'll lift it up. See, it's a new section. I'll lift it up. Both hands can come up here, actually, and the pedal comes up, so just a speck of silence, and then we go on. Notes first, then the pedal. And if you want, if you can do this in the second measure, second line, lift the pedal up, or change the pedal. When you lift the hand, you change the pedal, just up and right back down. This way I keep the sounds going, but I get to hear the rest on the right hand. And then you're up here, the next line, just change it. Just pedal, push the notes down and then change the pedal. Same thing. I lift the pedal. When I lift the right hand up, I change the pedal. And then here, I change the pedal again. See, it complicates it quite a bit. But again, in my opinion, if you're going to use pedal, let's do it right. Or otherwise, just leave it out. Don't use it at all in the piece. You could get away with it. But it just seems to me like we need to fix this pedaling. I'm more interested in the sound coming out of the instrument than how hard it is for you to do it. So I'm challenging you to do it. So very carefully, for the people who are still confused, what are you talking about? Very carefully, let's go through this. If I'm playing a note, let's just play a chord. I push the pedal down right after the chord. And if I'm going to play another chord, I change the pedal. I'm I'm going to play the chord first and then change the pedal. Lift it up and put it down. That's changing pedal. That's changing pedal. You're just up and down. That's so we don't smear the different harmonies, because this chord is different from this chord, and you would mix all that together. Well, here on page 36, the second and third line are different. You got this, and then you got this. It's a different chord. I don't want to mix them. I get all that. So I changed the pedal here. That's all I'm doing. That's all I'm doing here. It just happens to be I can lift the pedal up here. And I'm changing it with the harmony. On page 37, if I want to hear the rest at the end of the second and third line and the fourth line, I got to lift the pedal up so I can hear the rest. But I still want to continue the overall sound. I don't want it to suddenly be dry like that. So I changed the pedal for that one beat and then change it again immediately. So I'm changing it more. So the second line on page 37. I changed the pedal. That's all I'm doing there. It's a little more difficult, but you gotta learn to do it eventually. Yeah, so I'm challenging you to do it now. Pedal the whole thing all the way through. Or don't pedal it at all. Please don't copy me. That's just one way of doing it. I could take it a little slower. I don't think I'd take it much faster than that. I don't know, maybe I would, because that's really not moderately fast at all. That's more like moderately fast, but then the eighth notes are going crazy. So I can slow it down for the eighth notes, and that's why it's a balance between the two. How fast do the eighth notes go versus how fast do you want the melody to go? You have to balance that out. Let's play this together very slowly and double check the notes and the rhythms. I'm going to pedal it like I suggested. I'll give us 4 counts, and we're going to go really, really super slow. Well, for me it is. I don't know. 1 and 2 and ready and go, and 1